session. Please keep your remarks and your questions to the content of today's press conference. And before you ask a question, please state your name and the media outlet that you are with. And lastly, if you have not already done so, please silence your cell phones. And now I'll turn it over, to the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas, Ryan Raybould.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ryan Raybould. I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas. Earlier this year, I announced, together with my colleagues up here, the expansion of Project Safe Neighborhoods in Northwest Dallas. We launched this initiative because parts of Northwest Dallas had become a corridor of criminal activity. At that announcement, I said we would earn the community's trust by showing results, and that's why we're here today. This morning, I'm announcing federal grand jury indictment against 8 defendants, including several employees of the Paris Adult Bookstore, along with 2 sex traffickers for conspiracy to commit sex trafficking as well as other offenses. The defendants are as follows. Aaron Tyrone Betford, Montre Lamont Mason, also known as Terry or Unk, Eileen Mason, also known as Mama or Ma, Montre Traylon Love Mason, also known as Nunu, Larry Jones, also known as Big Guy, Crescenda Doss, Reginald Rose, and Antonio Dario Osorio Avilar. All defendants face the charge of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking, and on that charge alone, the defendants are facing decades in prison. Some defendants face additional charges. Those include sex trafficking through force, fraud, and coercion, sex trafficking of a minor, conspiracy to launder money, and then felon in possession charges. Our federal and state partners arrested 6 of these 8 individuals last Friday, July 24th, and the heroic agents who are up here with me and out in the audience today also recovered 21 firearms from the indicted defendants throughout this investigation. This case is the result of HSI Dallas's North Texas Trafficking Task Force. That task force saves lives. It works in close partnership with my office as well as federal, state, and local agencies, including IRS-CI as well as DPD, to identify problems in our area, human trafficking hotspots, and is really a force multiplier for attacking a problem. Paris Adult Bookstore operated as a sexually oriented business, but the indictment alleges it was far beyond any legitimate business activity. The front of the store did sell novelty items, but the back consisted of locked hallways and rentable rooms used to facilitate commercial sex acts and human trafficking. According to the indictment, Paris profited by renting out these rooms and charging additional fees for access. It was widely understood that individuals that were engaged in commercial sex would go on what are called dates outside the building, then they would walk into Paris and go to the back and pay the fee. Employees allegedly sold commercial sex workers condoms, sanitary wipes, as well as pregnancy tests. They referred to the pimps as money managers and commercial sex workers as queens or ladies of the night. They avoided the words pimp and prostitute, but according to the allegations, they did not avoid facilitating exploitation and trafficking. Workers who in fact caused police responses were banned from the store, and in one instance, a young victim had to buy the staff food in order to get access to the back hallways again. As alleged, Paris employees ignored obvious warning signs of the commercial sex workers, some of whom were battered and bruised. Rose and Azario Avilar used Paris as a hub to traffic commercial sex workers. In fact, Azario Avilar allegedly trafficked 3 juveniles, and Rose allegedly trafficked an adult victim and gave her a black eye, and that's in the indictment. This is really how traffickers control victims. through force, fraud, and coercion. Now, these are just allegations, and every defendant is presumed innocent unless and until they are proven guilty in a court of law. We're going to do that. But the public should know this. This case really demonstrates what happens when we all work together. No single agency can dismantle a criminal enterprise alone. The tools that the chief has, the tools that the special agent in charge of HSI has, as well as IRSCI has, who are the best financial investigators in this country, is being brought to bear to attack this problem in Northwest Dallas. And it's really a credit to them as well as the AUSAs in my office for their heroic efforts. It goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways, investigators spent countless hours surveilling the property, looking at financial spreadsheets, following the money trail, executing the search warrants, block by block building this case. And I want to thank every partner and agency here today, as well as those who couldn't be here, for all of their help and in helping us get this indictment done. This indictment marks one very important step in our long-term effort to make Dallas safer, to make Northwest safer. And as I said from the beginning, we don't just talk about results, we deliver them. And now I will turn it over to HSI Special Agent in Charge, Travis Picker.
Good morning. I'm Travis Pickard. I'm the Special Agent in Charge for Homeland Security Investigations in Dallas. I want to begin by recognizing our law enforcement and prosecutorial partners who stand with us today. Their dedication, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to protecting vulnerable people made today's announcement possible. Today, we announce the federal arrest of 8 individuals charged with multiple counts of sex trafficking and conspiracy to launder monetary instruments. These arrests are part of Operation Midnights at Paris, a complex HSI Dallas-led investigation that over the past 3 years exposed one of the longest running commercial sex trafficking operations in North Texas. For more than 2 decades, the Paris bookstore in Dallas allegedly operated under the guise of a legitimate business while functioning as an illicit brothel. Behind its doors, investigators uncovered an enterprise where human beings were treated as commodities and exploited for profit. The investigation revealed that over the course of the business's existence, thousands of adults and minors were sold for commercial sex. Let that sink in for a moment. Thousands of lives impacted by exploitation, fraud, coercion, and abuse. While today's arrests are significant, it's important to remember what this case is truly about. It's about the victims. Throughout this investigation, investigators identified dozens of victims whose lives were forever changed by those who allegedly chose greed over human dignity. Some survivors have begun the difficult journey toward healing. Others continue to carry the physical and emotional scars of their exploitation. One of those victims never had that opportunity. In 2024, one of the victims identified during this investigation was kidnapped from the Paris bookstore and brutally murdered by a commercial sex customer. Thanks to the relentless work of the North Texas Trafficking Task Force, the individual responsible for that heinous crime was successfully prosecuted in the Northern District of Texas and sentenced to life in federal prison. While that sentence cannot restore what was taken, it demonstrates our commitment to pursuing justice wherever the evidence leads. Human trafficking is not a victimless crime. It destroys families, devastates communities. and it strips people of their freedom, of their dignity, and in the most tragic cases, their lives. This investigation also sends another important message. Criminal organizations can't hide behind storefronts, business licenses, or the appearance of legitimacy. HSI follows the money. We dismantle criminal enterprises, and we hold accountable those who profit from the exploitation of others. Operation Midnights of Paris is also a testament to the extraordinary collaboration of our North Texas federal, state, and local law enforcement partners working together through the North Texas Trafficking Task Force. North Texas Trafficking Task Force is an initiative under the North Texas Homeland Security Task Force and the Texoma High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area. No single agency could accomplish this alone. The success of this investigation reflects years of coordinated intelligence sharing, joint investigative efforts, victim-centered interviews, surveillance, financial analysis, forensic examinations, and the tireless work of prosecutors who have partnered with investigators every step of the way. When agencies combine their authorities, expertise, and resources, we become far more effective than any one organization working independently. Criminals don't respect jurisdictional boundaries. Neither does our commitment to pursuing them. I also want to recognize the victim advocates and the service providers who have stood beside survivors throughout this investigation. Their compassion and commitment are indispensable. Law enforcement's responsibility does not end with an arrest. Helping survivors find safety, stability, and hope is an equally important measure of success. To those who continue to exploit vulnerable individuals for financial gain, hear this clearly. HSI Dallas and our partners will continue to identify you. We will continue to investigate you. And we will bring you before the justice system where you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Whether your crimes occur in plain sight or behind closed doors, we will not stop pursuing those who traffic human beings. To the survivors who may be listening today, you're not forgotten. You're not invisible. Your courage to come forward has helped dismantle an organization that has allegedly exploited countless victims over many years. We hope today's action serves as a reminder that justice is possible and that there are people committed to helping you reclaim your future. I want to thank every investigator, every analyst, every prosecutor, forensic specialist, and victim assistance professional who contributed to Operation Midnights of Paris. Their dedication has made North Texas safer and has brought us one step closer to dismantling those criminal enterprises who profit from human suffering. I would particularly like to recognize the men and women of the Dallas Police Department for their relentless determination to eliminate trafficking and violent crime from the streets of our community. The city of Dallas can sleep more soundly knowing that Chief Como and the brave men and women of the Dallas Police Department have the watch. Finally, I'd like to extend our gratitude and appreciation to U.S. Attorney Ryan Raybould and his talented team of prosecutors. Make no mistake, with this team of prosecutors on the job, the Northern District of Texas is most definitely not where you want to step on the wrong side of the law. Thank you for your time. I'll now turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Special Agent in Charge, Christopher Altimas, Jr.
Thank you, Travis. I'm Christopher Altimas, the Special Agent in Charge of IRS Criminal Investigation, Texas Field Office. I want to first begin by saying how proud I am of the women and men of IRSCI for their hard work and dedication that led to last week's indictments and arrests. Let's be honest, this type of criminal activity is conducted for one reason and one reason only: money. And IRSCI has built a reputation for being the best in the world at complex financial investigations. And this alleged organized criminal enterprise maintained a complex financial structure. Our agents carefully traced and documented the financial operation and identified how the defendants allegedly worked to conceal and disguise illicit funds by utilizing a point-of-sale system that gave the appearance of legitimate transactions. Cash deposits were commingled with legitimate business income. The proceeds were allegedly used to pay a security guard company to control the Johns and commercial sex workers. This ensured there were no altercations or disturbances that may attract the attention of law enforcement. Before IRSCI agents joined the case, HSI's North Texas Trafficking Task Force and the Dallas Police Department conducted multiple sex trafficking investigations involving adult and minor victims exploited at the Paris bookstore. These investigations resulted in the recovery of numerous victims of sex trafficking, as well as the prosecution of their traffickers. When the search warrants were executed at Paris, a local business owner said, "It's a big deal if the IRS is involved." This announcement proves just how big of a deal that is. Stopping human trafficking is a big deal. It's a very big deal for IRSCI. This case is a great example of teamwork at its best. Federal, state, and local law enforcement cannot do this alone. Each partner brings unique authority, expertise, and resources. When we come together, we make faster, stronger, and more meaningful impact on our communities. My partners up here know that when it comes to protecting our community, I will always answer the call, yes. How can we help? This impressive investigative team worked tirelessly to execute search warrants, gather the evidence, and bring forward this indictment and the accompanying forfeiture notice. That notice puts the defendants on clear alert. If the allegations are proven, every dollar tied to the wrongdoing will be taken. Because forfeiture ensures one thing: crime literally does not pay. Thank you. Next, I'd like to welcome Chief Pullman.
Thank you. From day one, when I arrived to Dallas, I heard about Paris Bookstore. And what I'm so appreciative of, as I continue to hear more and more about Paris Bookstore, I picked up the phone, made some phone calls to some partners that you see here now. They answered the calls. Not only did they answer the calls, they worked every single day with the Dallas Police Department, with the investigators, and started looking at Paris, understanding exactly what they were doing. And this is what you see right now, the results. There's no longer Paris Bookstore. And we're going to make sure that Paris Bookstore does not come back. There's something special that's happening right now in North Texas, in the Dallas area. This team here will not allow crime to happen in Dallas without us investigating you fully and making you pay for committing crime in Dallas. I'm so appreciative of the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I've said it before, when he walked into the Dallas Police Department and he was talking all these big stories, what he was going to do, and how he was going to change the U.S. Attorney's Office. If you remember, I looked you in the eye and I said, it's all talk until you do it.
You're still a little skeptical.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, he's been backing it up. And not only does he back it up, he picks up the phone and he calls me and he says, we need more violent offenders. We need them. That's why you're seeing crime going down in Dallas, because of the work that the officers are doing, the investigators are doing. But what's important is when you have the prosecution that's standing behind putting them in jail and keeping them in jail, it's so important for us to continue to keep everyone safe in Dallas. And I'm going to end simply by saying, if you're thinking about committing crimes in Dallas, you might want to go someplace else, because we will catch you, we will put you in jail, and we have individuals and officers that will prosecute you and keep you in jail. Thank you.
All right, we can do questions if y'all want. Just state your name and who you're with, if you wouldn't mind. Kevin Kraus.
Kevin Krause, Dallas Morning News. You're a relatively new U.S. attorney here, and so I was wondering, with this case, do you plan to, if there was a lot of talk about, all the finances and the money that was made and all the damage done to the survivors, do you plan to use that money that will be forfeited to seek orders of restitution for the survivors so they can rebuild their lives?
So I want to first comment on your thoughtful piece. And it's people like you that help us have conversations. So I want to thank you for that, Kevin. The answer is we have IRSCI involved in this case for a reason. When we do a financial investigation, it's two-part. One, we're trying to get as many assets as possible, but it's also we have to identify, and this is where HSI does such a fantastic job, victims, and get them comfortable with providing us what their proximate harm was. Under Fifth Circuit case law, we have to establish proximate harm. That's the standard. The Supreme Court had a case regarding the Paroline factors that we have to go through. And so we work the financial side, the victim side, and I have victim advocates in my office, but we need them to come forward, be comfortable with coming forward. And so since you wrote your thoughtful piece, I've taken steps to ensure that we're continuing to do that. I think you saw some very good results out in West Texas, where we've had the Tate case recently out of Amarillo, where we got $98,000 for survivors. But I do want to underscore how great we are at doing this stuff. In CityX Guide, we prosecuted that case, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. A $200 million fund, which is a combination of Backpage and CityX Guide, is now kind of a first of its kind, where survivors that were trafficked on those websites are able to apply. I've actually worked on these cases when I was in private practice. It's very passionate and something that I care deeply about, to obtain funding. And that prosecution happened with at the hands of these folks up here. And this office led it. And so we would love to find more opportunities for that. But as a former professional athlete, I'm always looking for constructive feedback, and I took it as a call to do more and to make sure that, because we're so good at convicting people, this district gets huge sentences, and it's just an important piece that we need to continue to make sure that we're being intentional about getting the money and establishing the proximate cause and ensuring that survivors feel comfortable to come forward. But one thing that we've always done well is every time we do one of these takedowns, we have wraparound services with us as well. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. You bet, Kevin. Thank you. Seeing no other questions, I really appreciate y'all coming here, and we look forward to talking more about this case as the case unfolds. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. We will be placing copies of the indictment out for you guys to take, and then there will be a press release that will be published and sent out to you all later this afternoon. Thank you.